While the world watches the front lines, a quieter war grinds through railways, drones, and hidden workshops, one most people never see. Crumbling supply lines, exposed troops, and outdated systems threaten total collapse. A rail network turned into a weapon, a bridge campaign reshaping the map, an underground army rebuilding itself in secret. But one choke point could unravel it all. The infrastructure war. Iron rails versus rigidity. Here's something most people never think about. Trains. Old-fashioned trains. Ukraine's railway system, called Ukrzheliznytsia, has quietly become one of the country's biggest weapons. While Russia depends on huge fixed supply bases and long lines of trucks that are easy to spot and hit, Ukraine does the opposite. It spreads its rail network out, changes routes constantly, and fixes broken tracks almost overnight. That means tanks, ammo, and soldiers can move fast, even under attack. Think about it like this. If one road closes, Russia struggles. If one train line breaks, Ukraine just switches tracks. It sounds simple, but this flexibility might be one of the biggest reasons Ukraine has held on so long. So here's a question for you. Could something as old-fashioned as a railway really be shaping the outcome of a modern war? Stick around, because the next tactic is even more surprising.
Precision disruption, targeting the enemy's arteries. Instead of throwing soldiers into direct, bloody battles, Ukraine tried something smarter. They went after Russia's supply lines. Using long-range weapons like HIMARS and Storm Shadow missiles, plus attack drones, Ukraine started hitting ammunition depots, command centers, bridges, and rail junctions far behind the front lines. Why does this matter? Because a tank without fuel is just scrap metal, and a soldier without bullets can't fight. By cutting off the supply arteries, Ukraine weakened Russian forces without even facing them head-on. It's a bit like cutting the power to a whole building instead of fighting room by room. This strategy has quietly worn down Russian combat power over time. And here's the real question. If you can't feed your army, does it even matter how big that army is? Coming up next, we'll look at an entirely different kind of army, one made of everyday civilians.
The decentralized revolution. Civil-military supply networks. In the early days of the war, Ukraine's official military couldn't keep up with demand. So something unexpected happened. Regular people stepped in. Volunteers, tech workers, and small charities began buying and shipping supplies like night vision goggles, medical kits, body armor, and even vehicles straight to soldiers on the front line. No waiting for government paperwork, no slow bureaucracy, just people helping people, fast. Groups like Come Back Alive and the Pertula Foundation became lifelines, filling gaps before official Western aid even arrived. It's a powerful reminder that in modern war, ordinary citizens can move faster than entire governments. Doesn't that completely flip how we usually think about war logistics? This grassroots network became one of Ukraine's secret strengths early on. But integrating all this outside help with official military supplies brought a brand new challenge, one that forced Ukraine to completely rethink how its army operates.
The NATO standard leap, standardizing a patchwork arsenal. Imagine trying to fix dozens of different car brands, each needing different tools, different parts, and different mechanics, all at once during a war. That's basically what Ukraine faced. Weapons started pouring in from many NATO countries, each with different ammo types and repair needs, while Ukraine still used old Soviet-era gear too. To solve this mess, Ukraine built repair and maintenance hubs in nearby NATO countries like Poland and Slovakia. These hubs helped standardize parts, streamline repairs, and keep this patchwork of weapons actually working together. It wasn't flashy, but it was essential. Because here's the truth. A weapon that can't be repaired quickly is basically useless on a fast-moving battlefield. This behind-the-scenes fix might not make headlines, but analysts say it kept Ukraine's forces combat ready. So ask yourself, is winning a war more about firepower or about who can fix their gear the fastest? Next, we head straight into the most dangerous stretch of the battlefield. The autonomous front line. Last-mile drone deliveries. Picture this. A soldier is pinned down in a trench, running low on ammo and water. Getting supplies to that exact spot, called the last mile, is often the deadliest part of any war. So Ukraine got creative. They started using ground robots and heavy-lift drones to deliver ammo, batteries, water, and medical supplies directly into danger zones without risking a human driver. On the way back, these same machines can even carry wounded soldiers to safety. It's a huge shift, machines doing the most dangerous job instead of people. This alone has likely saved countless lives by keeping humans out of the most exposed, high-risk areas. Could robots eventually handle even more of the fighting itself? That's a question worth sitting with. For now, this drone-powered supply chain has become a quiet hero of the war. But behind all these machines, there's something even bigger keeping everything organized: a digital brain running the whole operation. The digital logistics brain, GIS and AI-driven asset tracking. Old-school militaries used to track supplies with paper, maps, and radio calls, slow and full of mistakes. Ukraine ditched that. They built digital systems like Delta, combined with GIS mapping and predictive software to track weapons, inventory, and troop movement in real time. Commanders can now see exactly where bottlenecks are forming, where supplies are running low, and where danger is building, all on a screen. This is basically just-in-time delivery, similar to how big companies manage inventory, but applied to a war zone. Fewer giant supply depots means fewer easy targets for enemy strikes. It's warfare meeting Silicon Valley thinking. Doesn't it make you wonder how much of modern war is actually decided in a control room, not on the battlefield? This digital advantage gave Ukraine a serious edge in speed and precision. But there's one specific location where this entire logistics battle became a life-or-death choke point. The Crimea choke point strategy, severing the southern route. Southern Ukraine depends heavily on supply routes running through Crimea, so Ukraine targeted that path directly, hitting the Kerch Strait Bridge, the Chongar Rail Bridge, and ferry crossings again and again. Every successful strike forced Russian forces to reroute supplies through slower, more crowded, and more exposed land routes along the coast. Think of it like blocking the main highway during rush hour. Suddenly, everyone is stuck on back roads, moving slower and easier to track. This wasn't just about blowing up a bridge. It was about squeezing Russia's entire southern operation into a bottleneck, and bottlenecks in war are incredibly dangerous for whoever gets stuck in them. Could a single bridge really shift the balance of an entire region? The evidence suggests yes. This choke point strategy quietly reshaped how Russia could move troops and gear. But while bridges were being hit above ground, something else was happening deep below it. Underground repair and maintenance ecosystems. To keep expensive tanks, artillery, and Western equipment safe from missile and drone strikes, Ukraine did something clever. They went underground. Hidden garages, old bunkers, and repurposed basements were turned into secret repair shops. Engineers inside these hidden workshops fix damaged vehicles, build drone parts, and modify weapons, often within hours of equipment coming off the battlefield. By hiding these repair hubs and spreading them out, Ukraine avoids having one single facility that Russia could destroy in a single strike. It's protection through invisibility rather than heavy defense. In a war where visibility often means death, staying hidden became its own form of strength. Isn't it wild that entire military repair operations are happening in basements most people would walk right past? These underground workshops kept Ukraine's equipment running when it mattered most. And a lot of that equipment relies on something else entirely: everyday commercial technology. Commercial integration. Western tech in military supply chains. Here's a twist you might not expect. Some of Ukraine's biggest military advantages didn't come from traditional weapons makers. They came from regular tech companies. Starlink satellite internet keeps communication running even when other networks go down. Commercial fleet tracking tools and everyday logistics software help move supplies efficiently, just like a delivery company would. Private tech firms moved faster than traditional military systems ever could, giving Ukraine a serious digital edge. It raises an interesting point. In modern war, is a satellite dish sometimes more powerful than a tank? Analysts increasingly say private tech agility is reshaping how wars are fought and supplied.
This blending of civilian technology and military strategy has become one of the most talked about shifts of the entire war, and it sets up the final, biggest question of all. Who actually wins a war like this in the long run?
The strategic calculus: attrition versus sustainability. At the end of the day, modern war isn't just about who fights hardest. It's about who can keep supplying their army the longest. Russia entered this war with massive stockpiles, but corruption, rigid command structures, and repeated precision strikes have worn that advantage down over time. Ukraine, on the other hand, combined Western support, flexible internal supply systems, and constant disruption of Russian logistics into a real long-term strategic advantage. It's not the flashiest headline, but it might be the most important one. Battles can be won with firepower, but wars are won with sustainability. So here's the big question to leave you with. In a long, grinding war, does the side with more weapons really win? Or does the side that can keep supplying itself the longest? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this hidden logistics war might be one of the most important stories of the entire conflict.